If there were chariots found in the Red Sea, it would probably have something to do with the crossing of the sea.
We know that this incident occurred in the Red Sea. We can be confident that there is probably some evidence left behind there.
And if this is the site of the crossing, we would expect to find physical remains of the Egyptian army on the seabed.
$10 million vanished into a covert mission nobody was supposed to know about. Ex-military divers, military-grade sonar, coordinates left by a man the entire scientific world had dismissed as a fraud. Late 2024, they descended into the Red Sea and found something that should have stopped the world. An entire Egyptian army lying on the seafloor, frozen in time. Hundreds of chariot wheels with the exact spoke patterns used by Pharaohs' elite forces. Horse skeletons still positioned as if they were harnessed when they died. Human bones tangled in the wreckage, and deep beneath the coral, the unmistakable glint of gold. This wasn't a shipwreck. This was a catastrophe, the kind of discovery that rewrites history books. But here's what nobody's talking about. When the findings were quietly shared with the world's top Egyptologists, they didn't celebrate, they didn't debate, they went completely silent. And when the team compared their high-definition sonar maps to documentation from 40 years ago, they saw something that made their blood run cold. Large sections of the debris field were gone, not eroded, gone, with drag marks on the seafloor where heavy objects had been pulled away. The evidence is vanishing, and someone doesn't want you to know what's down there. Here's what you need to understand about this expedition. This was not some university-funded research project that would end up buried in an academic journal nobody reads. This was a covert operation, privately funded to the tune of over $10 million by backers whose names have never been released. The team assembled for this mission included elite deep-sea divers, many of them former military, underwater archaeologists who had grown frustrated with the politics of their field, engineers operating technology that most research teams can only dream of accessing. We're talking about advanced side-scan sonar, capable of mapping the seafloor in extraordinary detail. Military-grade remotely operated vehicles fitted with high-definition cameras that could capture footage in the crushing darkness hundreds of feet below the surface. Hypersensitive magnetometers designed to detect metal beneath layers of sand and coral. This was not amateur hour. This was a surgical strike on a mystery that has haunted certain researchers for over 40 years. They began their search in the Gulf of Aqaba, that narrow finger of the Red Sea that separates the Sinai Peninsula from Saudi Arabia.
And all these finds are spread out on a large area on the coasts of Saudi Arabia and Egypt.
For days, the sonar pulsed into the deep, scanning grid after grid of the seafloor. And then the operator saw something that made him call everyone to the screen. Strange symmetrical anomalies, shapes that were not natural rock formations. They were round, they were precise, and most disturbingly, they were arranged in a long, linear trail stretching across the seafloor. The shapes looked exactly like wheels, hundreds of them. They deployed the ROV, sending that robotic eye down into water so dark and cold that human divers could only stay for minutes at a time. The submarine's lights cut through the gloom. At first, there was nothing but sand and stone. Then, emerging from the sediment like a ghost, they saw it. A perfectly round shape, completely encrusted in coral. It was unmistakably a wheel, an ancient spoked chariot wheel. As the ROV glided forward, another came into view, then another. The debris field stretched for nearly a mile and a half. This was not a single accident. This was a catastrophe. The divers had to go down themselves. What they saw when they reached the bottom has been described by members of the team as overwhelming, even terrifying. They were swimming through a war zone, frozen in time.
I mean, about that long. Standing us in front of me, we cannot communicate in a way.
The seafloor was littered with the remains of what appeared to be a fleeing or perhaps charging army. They documented wheels with 4 spokes, 6 spokes, and 8 spokes. This detail matters enormously because these specific designs match exactly the different types of chariots used by the Egyptian military during the New Kingdom period. The 4-spoke wheels were older models. The 6- and 8-spoke designs were the advanced, high-tech stable platforms used by elite warriors and royalty. Finding all of them jumbled together in one place was like discovering a snapshot of the entire Egyptian chariot corps destroyed in a single moment. But it wasn't just wheels. They found twisted metal fragments that appeared to be axles. They found what looked like the rectangular remains of chariot cabs, now just piles of corroded bronze and petrified wood fused to the seafloor by centuries of relentless coral growth.